Greetings everyone, Sadhu Pranam. So this is about the semi-final round of the Extempore competition that was organized by Canon Sphere. Sadly, I do not have the recording of the speech of that round of the competition, but the story and the events behind it are really interesting and at the same time quite inspiring as well, and that's the reason why I'm sharing it with you, how it all happened. So what had happened that I had been participating in the competition through my laptop, and I would record the speech through my mobile phone. So at that time I was traveling as well, and before the allotted slot of time had to in which I had to get into the Zoom meeting room, I was at my dear one's place, and I had just managed and arranged everything. Wi-Fi was working really well. I had checked all those connections, internet connectivity, had set up my laptop, mobile phone in place and everything, that I now just have to enter the Zoom meeting room and start with my round of competition. And what happened that that day there was some delay due to any participant who had delayed and had not reached on the right time, and because of him or her the slots of everyone had got delayed. So I felt that okay, let's wait, let my time come and then I'll be going. And I think it was just one slot before which I had to be called. Something happened, and there was some fault with regards to electricity, such that the Wi-Fi stopped working, and there was no other way out in which laptop could be used. The internet, there is a way of using personal hotspot and connecting it with mobile, USB tethering, etc. But the thing is that in the region where I had been, the connectivity was very poor, particularly for the SIM that I use in my mobile phone. So now what to do? This caused chaos and anxiety at that very moment, and there was just one way left then, that I had to immediately shift everything to my mobile phone and would have to participate in the competition through my mobile phone. So this was the main reason why it all could not be recorded, because a laptop could not be used, and when I had to shift it immediately to the mobile phone, the other options which are available for recording were not prepared enough to be used immediately. And I trust you would be able to understand pardon, what would be the chaos and anxiety of the moment, that you have to just go for the extempore speech, and just the very few minutes before it, the internet is fluctuating and Wi-Fi is not working. So I managed it, and I entered the Zoom meeting room with the help of my mobile, and just prayed Almighty that everything goes well while I'm delivering my speech. And I also requested the organizing committee members that there are issues with internet connection, and let me know if there is some glitch in between. So now the competition began, and the topic that was given for this round was, I'm not able to recall the exact words, but it was more or less the same, that should women be given reservation. So I read the topic again. The process was same, 1 minute preparation time, and the speech duration this time was increased to 6 minutes. So I read the topic, and I thought about what can be spoken about it, and the very initial thoughts that stuck my mind was about the Panchayati Raj system, wherein we have 33% reservation for women compulsorily. And I just thought that I will be using this as an example, and then would be discussing this question of whether women should be given reservations or not. And this duration of 1 minute is too less a time. When we start thinking, just by the time we are able to absorb the topic and get into the depths of it, the time's up. So the time was up again. After 1 minute, I was told by the organizing committee that now's the time to deliver the speech. So the camera is switched on throughout this event, and it was only that in the preparation time we were allowed to mute ourselves if we are thinking, we are speaking to ourselves, whatever we are doing. And the challenging part of this competition had been that you cannot use pen, paper, anything. You can't write it anywhere, and it was just that the topic would be shown to you for a minute. Whatever you can think in your brain and note down in your brain, that's what's going to work. So the time got over, and I was there now to deliver my speech. So I began delivering my speech, and I'm not able to recall the exact points that I had mentioned at that time, but yes, what was the broad outline of my speech had been that I had started with the idea that women are equal to men, and our effort as a state and as a society is to ensure that that equality is omnipresent in all the spheres of life and social activity. And then I took this idea, took this fact that we have got 33% reservation for women in the Panchayati Raj institutions and how it is working. So through the case study of Panchayati Raj institutions, I highlighted that it has a dark side, that even when we have these mechanisms at work, there is something which we call pradhan patism that still prevails. And at that time I had read some study or some recommendation of any reputed institution which had asked for efforts to remove this phenomena of pradhan patism. So I said that we just read a day ago in the very esteemed daily that this is how the things are prevailing, and then I switched towards the brighter side of it, that so what, that these things still prevail. We observe examples of women who are rising and raising the voices of theirs in those spaces where there was a time when it could never be even imagined that a woman would be playing not just an important role but the role of leadership. And these women are not only strengthening themselves but are acting as a role model, a very close example for the other women of that region. And so if we look both the sides of it, I feel that reservation must be given. And for any change, there are two facets of bringing any change. One is internal and the other is external. The problems like Pradhan Patism highlight that there is an internal impediment that still prevails, and that internal impediment is that resistance to give acceptance of seeing women in the positions of power and coordinating and cooperating with them. But the external factor that facilitates the social changes is the way we function through the legal and political mechanisms. And from that perspective, this is going to be a very important and commendable step towards women empowerment. And lastly, I don't know how happened, this is how extempore evolves. Even we are not able to realize how that thought struck our mind. So just before I was concluding the speech, I said that we India as Indians aspire to have to move towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. And how can we realize this dream of Atmanirbharta if half of the population is not self-dependent and we are not ready to accept them as our equals? So this is roughly how the speech was done. Now, what was the most interesting aspect of it was that somewhere around 4 minutes and 4 minutes or 3 minutes some seconds, 40-50 seconds, I just felt that there was some thought, very good, beautiful, important thought that had struck my mind during the preparation time of 1 minute, and I'm not able to recall it at this time. And now more or less I'm repeating the same thoughts, and there is nothing new which is coming up in the speech. And you can understand that in the background of this speech and this semi-final round had been that chaos and anxiety that things were not working the way I had planned. And now amidst the speech also, the things were not coming out of my mouth the way I had planned in my mind during that 1 minute. So this, what I'm going to share next, is happened within fraction of seconds, but this left with me a very important lesson about competition specifically, but generally and more importantly about life. So in this moment, I had this first thought that I'm not able to recall that very thought, and thoughts are being repeated. And this all was happening internally. Externally, I was speaking, and it couldn't be made out what is going on inside, what is going on within. The next thought came that, oh, somewhere I'm losing my confidence. And the third and the most important thought struck me, that there was, for a moment I felt that now I should just wind up and conclude because I'm not able to get into the newer things. But the last thought that came was, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to complete it. Whatever be the minutes left and whatever be the thoughts left with me, I am going to complete it. I will not leave it midway. I will complete it, and I will complete it confidently. Whatever I'm speaking the right things, and I'm going to complete it. And this way, speech got concluded, and concluded well in 6 minutes and few seconds. And then what happened in the next round is the question answer round. So it was not it was not specified as a compulsory question answer round after every extempore speech. It was left on the discretion of judges if they want to ask anything more from the participant, want clarification about something which has already been spoken in the speech. So then the organizing committee member, she asked the judges that if you want to ask the participant any questions, you may please go ahead. And there were 3 judges, yes. So none of them asked any question. And now what happened, that I got all the more certain and sure that things have been really messed up. And not a single question was asked. That means certainly it has not gone the right way. And by the time I exited from the Zoom meeting room, I was saddened, and I just had this thought that perhaps the things really didn't go well, and now I just grew doubtful what would happen next and had apprehensions, etc. So those few minutes, that was about 25 minutes time after the this round got over and the results were declared. And during those 25 minutes, I was like that now it can turn out on any side, and I don't know what's going to happen now. Even judges didn't ask me any question, so what would happen? And I was sorrowful. To tell it very honestly, I was sorrowful, and to the extent that I got a few tears as well, that what had happened. And right now I'm smiling when I'm narrating it all. At that moment it wasn't so. So I waited for it, and then I grew a bit indifferent as to what happens. And after these 25 minutes, the sheet was shared, the participants who had qualified for the final round, and only 5 participants had to qualify for the final round. And before I could see the sheet, a fellow participant, that friend, sent me big congratulations. She texted it over WhatsApp, big congratulations. So I was not prepared for this to happen. I was like, what is it? I saw her message, and then I immediately checked the group message of the organization of Canon Sphere, and that list had been shared, and I want to share what had happened. So when I saw the list, my name was there in the qualified participants. But what's the more important observation is that I had been leading the scoreboard, and that difference in marks was a significant one. I'm not able to recall exactly, but it was somewhere around 14-15 marks. So the friend who was ranked second in this round had a margin. We had a margin of 14-15 marks. I'm sharing it with all politeness and all humility. There's a dimension that I want to highlight, underscore over here. Not my scores, but there's something else which I want to share. And this is it. The message, the learning, the thought is that we never know. We can't really tell how it all is going to come up at the end. So we should never give up. We never know how close to success we are. And I just thought, when I saw the result, I just thought, what would have happened had I stopped at those 3 minutes and few seconds when I felt that things are going out of my hand. The greatest lesson that we can learn in our lives is not giving up. And not giving up is what ultimately someday leads us to the destinations that we aspire for. It happens only in the rarest of rarest circumstances that this not giving up doesn't end up that well, and ultimately we don't find success, and there's something wherein we have to change our ways. It happens in the rarest of rarest circumstances. And I realized that when it came to how I had been analyzing my performance, my benchmark had been that I had thought something during the preparation time which I could not recall, so my speech didn't go that way. My conception about my performance had been that I had prepared everything and I had set up everything over the laptop and didn't go well. And I had to shift everything immediately over mobile phone, and how it happened, things didn't go the way they had been planned. That's the crux of it. But the results made me learn that it really doesn't matter how things go, whether planned or unplanned. If we are able to stand strong, and if we are able to be patient and not give up and keep on trying our best till the last moment, there's always this possibility of things turning up and taking the turn on the brighter side, the side which we had not even expected nor even imagined of. So this is nothing to praise my own self, but something which I learned in this competition, and I learned it for life and found it so inspiring that I felt that I must share this incident, how it all had happened. Thank you so much. Sadhu Pranam.